And tell us, what are you going to play for?
Spinning song.
Spinning song. All right, let's hear it.
We get a lot of letters into our office from people that are incarcerated for different reasons. They may have health issues that they feel like that no one's really listening to them because they have an ongoing health problem. And what we do is we will write them back and try to, speak with them and tell them that they have to, these are the chain of commands that you need to follow in order to get your needs met. You can't go half-cocked and try to get your problems fixed because it doesn't work.
It wasn't just enough to be clean and sober and living a good life and being productive and helping others. There's a soul at stake here that needs to be, redeemed. Mm-hmm. And so that was the total package for me.
Jay, well, I found out about Delancey Street while I was in jail. I was in a county jail somewhere in the state for drug-related crimes, and I heard about it and just figured it was kind of my last shot. I mean, the path I was heading, it was either going to be long-term prison time or worse, death.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it.
I will say this: he's probably the most important governor the state ever had, and did more in a short period of time. Every generation has its big leader and thinker, and Moorhead was definitely the thinker and doer of his day.
Where does the name lupus come from for this disease? Now, in Latin, lupus means wolf.
Right. And actually, that is,
That's it.
when I did my research after finding out that I had lupus, that is what it was. And it was because of the rash that a lot of people had upon their faces. A lot of it was covering the face, and it gave your skin like this wolf-like.
It's not just the music theory either. It's about character.
And you know, you overhear these. I stand out in the hall sometime and listen to these people, and as I do, I hear them talking about respecting one another, talking about listening skills, talking about the discipline of practice and things like this. So this is building gradually a character of a person, and not just about music.
So it's nice, you know, that they find that
Yeah,
niche and
that's
find a
right.
way of making a living doing it. But that's never the goal of our program. Our goal of our program is really to create well-rounded citizens, people that can do problem solving, who can take the skills that theater provides, such as confidence and public speaking, teamwork, and take that and apply that to all aspects of their life, and hopefully to whatever career that really sparks them.
If I try to get up and sleepwalk, she stops me. Or if I start to have a nightmare, she automatically wakes me up. If I'm in a public setting and I'm very agitated, she will actually calm me down, A, by keeping people away from me, and we call it a barrier. What she'll do is, if I do not acknowledge her, she'll start licking my fingers. And if that doesn't work, she'll nudge me with her butt. And if that definitely doesn't work, she'll nip at me. And if for some reason I don't acknowledge her, she goes to other people. It's almost as if she's asking for help with me. It's to the point to where I go in McDonald's and order a hamburger now, and the process of it is being in public is no more trying to acknowledge who is there. What happens is when people approach me, it's about the dog. It's about a fallen soldier that's continuing on their name to help me out. And then my goal now is, since it's adjusted my life so much, to help me function, I just want to help others and educate. And people are just so patriotic and understanding about it. It's uplifting.
Yeah.
It actually gives me happiness. It fills a void in my life with her around, to where, you know, suicide is not a thought anymore.
Is the executive director of the Community Theater of Greensboro. Mitch, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. We always appreciate the opportunity.
Our engineer here, David Hurt, was telling me that we counted up how many of these Greensboro Glimpses shows that we've done, and came up with, I think, 144. And this will be your third appearance, so you're becoming somewhat of a regular on here, but I think that's great.
We just have to wait for the economic climate to turn around a little bit, unless you got $2 million that you could.
Let me see if I can. Yeah.
Actually, that was chosen way before. If anything, I feel our timing was good, because the play takes place in Chicago. Obama's from Chicago. It's a black piece of theater, and there's a lot of comments in the play about black people only have dreams, but their dreams never come true. And now a black man has been elected.
That's why I wondered if you had,
we didn't plan it, but I think there's a wonderful message of the play and how far we have come since this play has written.
It's a great time. I'm very happy to have as my guest on this program my old friend. I shouldn't say old, you're not old, my longtime friend, the executive director of the Community Theater of Greensboro, Mitchell Summers. Mitchell, so good to have you.
He's old. He's been at CTG 25 years. His son's getting married in October, who's 30. He's old. Oh, I'm not going anywhere. Just trying to find my way for this last couple of years while I could still walk and talk. You know? It's nice that we have this kind of regular thing going on.
It is. You know, in fact, I was thinking we could almost do a weekly show on CTG. You've got so much going on.
I'm still waiting for you in our weekly show of The Real Dirt.
The Real Dirt? Hey, let's do that. We need to talk some more about that. And this is your first real permanent home, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, after all these years.
After all these years.
Interesting, the last year or
It
so.
is, and you know, I always love to talk about it. Actually, after I did this show with you last time, I had all these people call me, you can't say that, you can't say, why? That's how I feel.
Sure.
And, you know, so,
you can say it. That's what public access is all about.
That's right, and you know people are watching your show, because I got a lot of phone calls about that.
They do watch.
But I do say it like it is. I feel right now, Jay, like we're all walking around like the emperor with new clothes. Everybody's smiling and acting like everything is great, and you know the arts are wonderful and all that, when the reality is we're all freaking out. Because anybody that tells you right now that they're filling up their houses and the money's pouring in, I'm just not buying it. And I think the biggest challenge right now, which is interesting, at least for community theater, the support is there. I do feel in general that the community is stepping up to the plate as far as if corporations are no longer going to help, if the government is going to pull back, the individuals are going to step forward. Here's what I think is the real problem right now, is I believe that we are going through a cultural shift. And I believe that people right now, between the economy, which is one of the factors, and our lives are so crazy, and people are getting larger and lazier, that I think it's getting harder and harder to get people off the couch. You know, they'd rather, or they'd rather do pay-per-view. And I even talk to my students at Elon University, and it's very hard for young people today to fathom sitting someplace for 2 hours and you can't send a text message. You can't check the scores.
Oh, yeah, that's deadly for some of those people.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so all of that is affecting not just theater, but I think presenters in general. But meanwhile, we're all walking around and smiling, but no one's willing to talk about it like it really is. We're all getting a certain percentage of that small amount of people that these days are making the effort to go out and support an arts event.
What do you think might turn that around? Do you think that it's inevitable that we continue down that path? Or?
I think there's some part that's an inevitability in that I do feel our society in general is getting more and more distant. Even like with my kids, all this texting, I says, call me, I'm your father, I'm tired of this, talk to me.
Probably need to do more to get the word out.
Well, we're here.
Yeah, but that's why we do this program.
Sometimes people perceive nonprofits as being not as skilled as for-profit organizations. I take the approach, and our team takes the approach, that we want to be as knowledgeable as possible.
Then we have a very special guest that I'm just delighted could find time from her busy schedule. Mrs. Claus is here with us.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And sorry that Santa couldn't make it, but I know that this time of year is a busy time for him.
He's very busy. He and the elves and the reindeers are all working very hard.
Absolutely, but we're delighted to have you and know that you can share a lot of interesting things with us as well. This year will be no exception. We're looking at the 38th edition of the Fun Fourth Festival. And my guests on this program to talk about that are two people very much involved. First of all, on my immediate left is Aislinn Spain.
So it'll be a good time just to come dance, bring your family, and then just sort of kick off the 4th of July activities in the community. Especially if you don't want to come out in the heat of the day, the next day,
Right.
the 3rd is a good time to come out.
Can't go wrong with beach music.
Right.
I guess, and two, we think most people know where Hamburger Square is, but there may be some poor soul out there that isn't a native of Greensboro, doesn't know what we're talking about.
You have small children that want to see Santa Claus. He has a long line the whole night, and we do cut that line off around 9 o'clock. So,
yeah.
What do you guys promise on the back of the box? What do you promise to put in those treats?
A dog's tail doesn't lie.
When that tail gets to wagging, you know you've made a hit, huh?
Yeah, in the boardroom on the lower level. So
over here is the cultural center,
right,
where our studios are and where all of these things take place.
Exactly.
Right now, it's a very, very small camera. It's magnetic and it attaches in. We've got a few different ways that we can wear them on the collar.
Chief of Police of the City of Greensboro, Tim Bellamy. Chief Bellamy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, good afternoon, Jay. Glad to be here.
I'm very, very happy to welcome to this program the Chief of Police of Greensboro, Ken Miller. Chief Miller, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for the invitation.
You've talked about on this program, and I know that since you've been here, one of the goals that you've had is more citizen involvement with the police department. Talk to us a little bit about things like, for example, the ride-along program that you have.
Well, the latest one is the Bike Along program.
Yeah, the Bike Along. We can talk about that. We can talk about that. Well, I could, yeah. My bike's a little less sturdy
on
than
the bike thing. I was kind of like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are you guys proposing? But I said, yeah, let's go with it and see what. And I actually think it's a hit, and I like it. And the reason I like it is because it's fun and it can be fun.
What we're trying to prevent by allowing just open video is we have to balance the privacy of an individual as well. It sounds really good to say, well, let's just put them all on a website and so everybody can see everything. It's very open. But the truth of the matter is that police have a unique relationship with the public. We get the opportunity, we have to get the opportunity to interact with people at some of the most distressing times of their lives. And that may be at 2 o'clock in the morning when your granddaughter hasn't returned home in time and you come to the door and you're not fully clothed.